Welcome back, tennis obsessors, to another video where today I'll be doing a comparison of the new Tecnifibre T-Fight 305S with the 300S. Now, if you haven't watched my previous review of the 305S, I'll leave a link down below so you can see the racket in a bit more detail, but today we'll focus in on both. Now, if you have watched the video, you'll know that I absolutely adored the racket, but the one issue was lack of spin. This is where this racket really excites me. The change in string pattern from 18 by 19 to 16 by 19 means it will have a bit more spin. The one issue I thought was going to be was 300 grams. Now, in today's video, I'm going to show you me playing it when it's purely 300, but then also added 5 grams in the hoop to make it 305. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting off with the 300S. Now, the main point I want to get across is the increase in spin that the racket gave me over the 305S. The string pattern change from the 305S makes a huge difference in being able to clear the net and keep the ball deep in the court. I found that this racket gave me more power than the 305S due to it being lighter and whipping through the air quicker. Now at the end of the video I will show the swing vision stats for the 300S with and without weight and the 305S to see the power that the racket gives and also the percentage of the balls in. And that shot there truly reiterates my point that this racket gives more spin than the 305S, because I know for a fact you wouldn't be able to hit that angle with that racket. Now, as we can see from that clip there, personally I found that the 300S had a way better backhand than the 305S. I think this is due to the ability to hit with more topspin than you can with the 305, but don't get me wrong, it is also easy to hit flat with it as well, and I found this complements my one-handed backhand more. Now, the main issue with this racket was the stiffness. With a stiffness rating of 66 compared to the 305S's rating of 63, I found it was really damaging on my elbow. I'd previously played 4 matches in a tournament 2 days before, and I had done heavy lifting at work the day before this testing, so my arm was going to be sensitive going into this. But I do feel like the stiffness of the racket really didn't help. I found the stiffness was so bad with the racket that I did have to stop play testing it a little earlier than I would have wanted, so I'd be able to hit with it with weight in the hoop. Now, I'm not going to fully blame it on the racket, because like I said, my elbow was a little sensitive, but I really don't think it would have helped. Another issue I found with this racket was the volleys. I personally didn't like volleying with this racket, but I found it was just too light and the stiffness didn't really make up for it. All in all, I just found it was less stable than the 305S. Now on to the serving. I found that the serves are equally as good with both rackets. So similar sort of power, both pretty easy to serve with. Now onto the 300S with the 5 grams of weight added in the hoop. I was hoping that the more weight added would make it easier on my elbow, as I wouldn't have to swing through the air as hard. But I think it was already too damaged that the weight would make a difference, because I just didn't feel like it helped. But I know what you're asking. Did the added weight improve the racket? In some cases yes, and in some cases no. I found that the volleys were still the same, which I was very surprised about considering it was now heavier. But I felt the racket offered me more power than before, but that could be due to personal preference, as I like a heavier racket. And I found that the added weight also didn't affect the shot selection, as I didn't lose or gain any topspin. I found that both variations of the 300S and the 305S had good manoeuvrability, and this is due to the central weight distribution that Tecnifibre designed the racket to have. I found that both the 300S and the 305S had very good string maintenance. This is because of the racket having easy lock technology, which basically makes the knot tying easier, creating a longer lasting string tension, giving a more reliable performance. The T-Fight frame is shaped by the RS section, which gives a balance of control and power by combining the best of the square and round sections and increasing the sweet spot by 4%. Now with the added weight in the hoop, I found it gave even more pace on the ball, making this racket very powerful. And as we can see in that clip there, the touch with the racket is probably its biggest downfall. Hitting drop shots I found was quite a challenge with both the T-Fights. I found that serving with weight in the hoop was better than it was without. I think it allowed me to pronate correctly due to it being not as headlight and losing some of the whippiness that it did have. Now, the 305S. I will show a couple minutes of footage here, but I will not go into too much detail as I have a whole video dedicated to just the review of this racket. But what are my main points? I found that the volleying was so much better than it was with the 300S due to it being heavier and the weight being distributed evenly compared to when I weighted up the 300. The racket, of course, has less spin, but still had a lot of power, creating a very difficult flat shot to return. I found that the racket had way more control as well, making drop shots easier and allowing me to place my shots better than I could with the 300S. That shot there reiterates the lack of spin that you would have had with the 300S. Serving with the 305S was very similar in quality, but not in the type of serve. The 305S, of course, gives a very flat first serve, which I find is better than the first serve with the 300S. But the second serve was more difficult, as I like to hit them with some spin and sometimes kick, which I found was troublesome at times. So as we can see from the stats here, the rackets all performed basically identical in speed of forehand, backhand and serves. The serves with the 300S and 305S were very similar, but the weighted 300S did drop 5 miles an hour, which I found was very surprising. The 305S, although performed very similarly on speed, had 6% more shots in. Now, this could be the deciding factor between winning or losing a match. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below what rackets you'd like to see reviewed or what rackets you'd like to see compared with each other. and I'll be more than happy to get onto that. I also hate to ask, but I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe on this video. Really would help me out, and I will see you in the next one.